As the field watched the Toyota Solara pace car pull off from pit road, getting ready for the start of the 32nd running of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, a full field of Champ cars strained at their leashes, awaiting their explosive release after months of preparation. Then calamity struck. In the blink of an eye, 4 top competitors on the racetrack were tossed aside. Tracy, Allmendinger, Junqueira, and Serbia. For them, their Long Beach experience had proven to be a bitter pill indeed. But for Sebastian Bourdais and the #1 McDonald's entry, that spring afternoon on the coast of Southern California delivered all one could ask. The young Frenchman embraced the opportunity, dominating the race flag to flag. Yet surely he must know that those 4 men from that first lap, first turn debacle now have more to prove than ever before. That even grander heroics will be needed to fend off their charge.
Concentrate on your mark.
Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed. Champ Car is back in the Lone Star State. The 2006 Champ Car World Series, the second round of the new season. It is the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston, Texas. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Houston. I'm Rick Benjamin. You know, you can cut the anticipation here with a knife. First time the Champ Car has been here since 2001. The eyes of Texas, you might say, are on 4 young drivers tonight who might have some bruised feelings after what happened at Long Beach.
I wasn't happy. Obviously, I mean, I was really looking forward to the race, a good start, you know, start putting some points into the account.
I qualified very well, and the new Mahaska was strong, and to get hit the first turn, I was very frustrated.
I don't blame Mario Ford. It was a mistake that he made, but you know, I've made plenty of mistakes, and the day that I'm perfect, then I'll start blaming everybody else for accidents. But the way I looked at it was I didn't need to say anything to Mario because he took out the worst possible guy, and that was his teammate, Paul Tracy.
For me, it's been a long time since I've been out on the first corner. You know, Mario just came in and, you know, just really ran into the back of me, and we talked about it at the Portland test, and he just basically said he was sorry about it, and it's just one of those things that happens.
Rivalry starting to build already early in the 2006 season. Now, we talked to all those drivers a few days ago. Jan Beekes, what's the situation now that we're here in Houston ready to race?
Well, Rick, the moment that they arrived here in Houston, those memories of Long Beach just went right out the window because both the drivers and the teams realized they have a huge challenge on their hands, predominantly because of the bumps. Now, reliability is an issue. The teams are concerned about it. A lot of new parts going on these cars tonight to make sure they make it to the end. From a driver's standpoint, fitness, definitely an issue. It's a slow track, but huge bumps tries to whip the steering wheel out of your hand, and it's going to be tough physically with no place to rest. Passing, got to be careful to pull off the line because of those bumps, but the best way to pull off a pass, I think, is unforced errors. There's going to be a lot of errors tonight. You definitely want to be in the right spot to capitalize on it. Now, the configuration of the track has also gone under some changes this weekend. It started off in this configuration, but look at the long stretch to turn number 2. They have added a chicane in this section for safety to try and slow the cars down. And in turn 9, there's a wall here on the outside that keeps the cars nice and safe.
All of this resulting in some changes here as we get set for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. A little longer racetrack, now about 1.7 miles. The race distance has been cut to account for that to 100 laps, and of course, that chicane added before turn 2. Some of the protagonists on the grid. Downstairs to Cameron Steele.
Well, Rick, there was certainly a lot of emotion when we went for the Bridgestone pole position, and this gentleman right here on my right, Mario Dominguez, captured that. And Mario, the emotion, tears of joy in your eye, your first ever pole, must be exciting.
It was great. My engineer, Michael Cannon, almost was crying, and it was just a lot of hard work put into this pole position. A lot of help from the team, a lot of help from Paul Tracy. He's been great teammate, and hopefully we can convert this into a win, this pole position.
Well, definitely a hard track to pass on, and you saw him talk about Paul Tracy, and Paul Tracy here to my left coming from the 3rd starting position. This track is very tough and bumpy, and I got to wonder, are you looking at the first lap as being super key, or are you going to hang back just a little bit?
No, I think, you know, the key for us really is to get through the first corner, everybody to get through the first corner and get the race going. And then from there, I mean, it's going to be a hard race. It's going to be a tough race physically and on the cars. So, you know, we need to get some points this weekend. We had a misfortune at Long Beach, so, you know, we need to come out of here with some points.
Everybody looking for Paul Tracy to come out guns blazing. I think we can almost guarantee that. He has signed 5 more years with Foresight Racing. And now let's check in with Bill Stevens.
Two-time series champion and newlywed Sebastian Bourdais had his Friday night qualifying time thrown out. It would have put him on the first row. Instead, yesterday, he qualified 5th. And the question we're going to ask you, Sebastian, how confident are you can win this race starting from the 3rd row tonight?
Not so confident, but you know, if the worst weekends come to an end with a 5th place, well, we'll take that. And it's what we've done last year, won the championship with that approach with the Magnus car. So we'll try and repeat, I guess.
Looks like you struggled a little bit in the final practice today.
No, I mean, we were P2 in the warm-up, and I made a mistake, went on the run. I didn't want to lock the tires because it was a race set, so you know, it was kind of discompromised and didn't damage too much our situation.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Guys, I want to remind you, last year in Edmonton, he qualified 10th and came back and won that race.
As he did, come from 10th to the win, one of the 2 new venues that the series had visited. That is the new Mrs. Bourdais, Claire Rago Bourdais. Paul Newman getting set for the start here as well. The streets of Houston, the Champ Car World Series is in Houston. We'll be back in just a moment. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Our coverage being brought to you today by Ford, bold moves. And by Bridgestone, passion for excellence. Now the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston around Reliance Stadium here. And of course, it is another 3-day festival of speed. I want to introduce you to the 5th member of our broadcast crew. Michelle Beisner has been out and about this week checking out the scene here in Houston.
All right, Rick, thanks so much. And let my boys in the pit show you all the action on race day. It's my job to take you behind the scenes and show you all the action off the track. That's right, the Grand Prix of Houston is not just about the race. In fact, this is a full 3 days, a festival of speed. I'm talking concerts, boxing matches, volleyball tournaments, games, you name it. I'm your backstage pass, and I'm going to take you there to show you what you may have missed this year, but what you'll be sure not to miss next time around.
Thanks, Michelle. May need to strap her in with a 5-point harness before she climbs up on any more mechanical bulls. Cars moving out of the racetrack. Our Bridgestone Pole Award winner here for the first time in his 65-start Champ Car World Series career. Mario Dominguez from Mexico City, Mexico, grabbed the pole in 2nd round qualifying on Friday. The $10,000 Bridgestone Pole Award to Mario Dominguez. He will start from the number 1 position here tonight as we get set to go racing in the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. Mario, so emotional, so thrilled to get that top spot the first time in his career. He'll line up alongside Bruno Junqueira as the Champ Car starting grid is powered by Ford. Junqueira, the Newman Haas, hole in the wall, car number 2. 2nd row here tonight will look like this. Dominguez teammate Paul Tracy, the Foresight Index 3, and the Rousport 10 for A.J. Allmendinger starting 4th. 3rd row, series champ Sebastian Bourdais, the McDonald's car number 1, and the Aussie Vineyards 15, veteran Alex Tagliani for Team Australia. In row number 4, Justin Wilson, twice a winner last year, the CDW 9 car, alongside Oriol Servia, making his 100th consecutive start tonight in the Gulfstream 6. 5th row, car number 4 for Nelson Philippe, the CTE HVM machine. Will Power has the Aussie Vineyards 5 car, starting outside in the 10th position. In the 6th row, Charles Wolzman, the MyJack Conquest number 34, and Speedy Dan Clark in the other CTE HVM machine. He has had an eventful weekend so far. 7th row, 2nd-year driver Andrew Ranger, the MyJack Tide number 27 for MyJack Conquest, and series champ, former champ Cristiano D'Amata. Catherine Legg in the 8th row, the Bell Micro 20 with first-timer Nicky Pastorelli. He takes over the Rocket Sports 8 from Antonio Pizzonia. And the final starter in the 9th row, all alone tonight. 17 cars will take the green. It'll be rookie Jan Halen. He is from Belgium. And the Sonny's Barbecue 11 for the Dale Coyne team. Meantime, D'Amata had a little problem getting the 19 car fired on pit road, but the Dale Coyne team has gotten him rolling. The 2002 Series champ will be able to take the green. We'll be right back in Houston. Back in Houston, Reliant Park, the Champ Car World Series, the Grand Prix of Houston about to unfold. First time in 5 years these cars have been here. We're at Reliant Park. On boards with Paul Tracy, the Index Foresight 3. He'll come from the 3rd starting spot tonight. He'll also ride in the CDW 9 car of Justin Wilson, 2nd at Long Beach, 2nd at the championship. And we'll have cameras on board as well with Charles Wolzman, who starts deeper in the field tonight. Charles Wolzman in the 34 car, the Speed Racer machine for the MyJack Conquest team. Cameron Steele.
Well, one thing we'll see from those onboard cameras is just how bumpy it is here in Houston. Where the concrete comes together in the seams, you have rises and drops, and the drivers say they don't really have any time to rest whatsoever. Justin Wilson said his vision will be the biggest problem. Let's send it back to the booth.
Getting ready to go green, yeah.
And you'll see that they go right to a single file fashion here. This is something that was decided at the last moment by race director Tony Cotman as well as the drivers. They requested no passing until you get out of this chicane. So the race hasn't really started yet as far as what the officials will allow them to do, even though you have some shortcuts. But right about now, we're on it. You can pass wherever you want.
Well, Justin Wilson in one of the HVM cars went right through that chicane. Should be no penalty in that situation. Now, all these drivers have started on the Bridgestone alternate tires, the Reds we call them, except for champion Sebastian Bourdais. And already, contact, it looked like one car brushed the wall. That could be off Justin Wilson's car.
There is obviously multiple red and white cars, so we'll wait to see whose car that is off. But definitely, it was a case where the drivers, some of which requested to make sure with this addition to the racetrack. Remember, this came late. We talked about it in the open. They wanted to be sure everybody was clean. It worked. Now we get to racing.
There's Bourdais in the McDonald's one at Long Beach, two-time series champ. He's won 4 in a row at brand new venues. First new venue of the season for Champ Car. Looking at turn 9, now to the front straightaway. Field single file, AJ Allmendinger. Started 5th, sits 5th at the moment. Everybody chasing Mario Dominguez, the Spirit of Mexico car number 7. Second spot belongs to Bruno Junqueira. Teammate Paul Tracy for Dominguez is 3rd. And now Bourdais has moved to 4th position. There is the car of Alex Tagliani. Tagliani 6th last time by. There is Wilson. He is indeed missing part of the right front wing. No, I'm sorry, that's one of the PKV cars, Jan.
Oriol Servia has a problem now. Of course, Justin Wilson is on pit road because there may have been some contact as well. But the wing that's missing, Oriol Servia, who has been quick on occasion here this weekend.
Here comes Wilson up through the gears. Pit lane speed limit in effect, about to blend back in with traffic. But Servia's car was the one that lost the winglet, the right front piece, off the nose cone. The CDW9 car of Wilson. Cameron Steele.
Well, down here in the CDW pit, what happened with the contact? He had a rear flat tire. They had to come in and change it. Unfortunate start for Justin Wilson.
Dominguez continues to lead. This is Paul Tracy, former series champ, sitting 3rd behind Bruno Junqueira. Junqueira and Tracy, a couple of the principals in that first turn skirmish at Long Beach that took out 4 key contenders. Everyone wanting to settle things down, get a couple of laps under their belt tonight. Yeah, and I think this may be a case of these guys wanting to race the racetrack more than each other, at least in the early going.
In the early going, definitely, but they're wanting to race each other as soon as they get a handle on this. We talked about how physically demanding it is. You'll notice that all the rain lights are on. That is by design. Obviously, it's a night race, and sometimes your depth perception is affected. That's why every car has to have the light on. Bill?
If you're wondering why Sebastian Bourdais is on those black tires, it's very simple. During practice and qualifying, the team found that the Reds, the optional tires, were not agreeing with the car. I spoke to Craig Hampson, team leader, just a few minutes ago, and he basically said the car was almost undrivable on those red sidewall Bridgestones.
Well, Bill, of course, by regulation, you have to put the Bridgestone Reds on at least once in the race. So, okay, 25 is his fuel number. They give you a target fuel number. That's Kenny Seawick talking to Sebastian Bourdais on the radio. Already, they tell him what the fuel number needs to be. The pit strategy already in effect.
Now, it's 100 laps instead of 115 tonight, yeah, but you still think 2 pit stops. Now, here comes Alex Tagliani. Good battle here. This is Servia back on the racetrack with Will Power.
And it is a case, yes, I'm sorry, it is going to be a 2-stopper race. There is a window. It's not something you have to save fuel to go. It's a case where you're just trying to see if maybe you use a little less fuel, you can make a faster pit stop.
Now look at Servia's car, the Gulfstream 6 for the PKV team. Big changes in that team in the last several days, and we'll cover that in a little while. But Servia's doing pretty well considering he's missing part of his front aero pack.
He's doing fantastic. Remember, Paul Tracy kind of was the person who really had an opportunity to forge that in Toronto. Lost a front wing and ran almost as quickly. So
Front wing looks okay. I mean, it's all stable. It looks okay. Keep going.
obviously the PKV crew calling him, assuring him that, no more pieces are going to come off, or he'll just push it.
Will Power trailing Serbia right there, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Now that's Nelson Philippe in the CTE HVM car. Philippe in car number 4, the Bird and Bear Entertainment entry. That's the gray machine that you see here behind Serbia's red and white 6. And the beautiful Aussie Vineyards car of rookie Will Power. Now Power has been very strong. Team Australia, one of the factors in night racing that I think makes it so attractive on television and to the fans who are here in Houston, the colors on these cars look beautiful. Team Australia wins the Sherwin-Williams Automotive Finishes Award here this weekend. CTE HVM had won that award back at Long Beach, first race of the season in the month of April. Watching Serbia.
Now, what's interesting about that paint program that you spoke about is that when they paint the car, as you can see here so vividly on Paul Tracy's machine, is that they actually have come up with paints now that are lighter. Yeah. They're not so concerned just about the colors. They actually can make the cars lighter because it takes less paint.
Sherwin-Williams, an important corporate partner for Champ Car, and there you see the red sidewall tires on Paul Tracy's Index machine. Meantime, he has fallen to 4th. Sebastian Bourdais, who had struggled mightily yesterday on, and they have questions about whether the red tires, the alternate tires, will work on Bourdais' machine very well. They got by Tracy. Those two great rivals. They had an incredible season of battles last year. Lots of contact between the two drivers. And now Bourdais up on the wheel, putting pressure on Bruno Junqueira, his teammate. Second spot in play.
I was going to say, it looked like Bruno slowed all of a sudden. It didn't appear as though there was anything in particular where Bourdais moved forward, but it appeared as though Bruno Junqueira had a bit of a miscue or something that put him right into the clutches of his teammate.
His last lap pace was about a second slower than what he'd been running, and that gave Bourdais the opportunity to get up there. With Sebastian Bourdais, the book on him earlier in his Champ Car career, Jan, was that he liked to run out front. Wasn't as good coming from deep in the pack, but we saw him win last year at Edmonton from the 5th row. We've seen him do it in the past. I don't think that's a valid criticism anymore at all. Now, something else we want to let you know here tonight. Champ Car officials coming to Houston. This is such a tight racetrack. They changed the Cosworth power to pass rule. Still 60 seconds, but the power numbers are different.
Yes, instead of starting at 750 horsepower and going to 800, now it's 725 to 800. So you have 75 additional horsepower on your Cosworth power to pass.
On board with Tracy, riding 4th, 4.5 seconds. Behind race leader, his teammate, Mario Dominguez. Dominguez, a former Champ Car Rookie of the Year. Yeah, there he is, the Roche Franz banner on the rear wing. Big couple of weeks for Dominguez out of Mexico City. They put Spirit of Mexico, or Guayo de Mexico, on the side pods of that car to try to more or less make a statement, I think, to the huge Hispanic population here in Central and South Texas that Dominguez is their guy. He's the only Mexican national in the series at the moment. Next week, of course.
Okay, 84 on fuel. Again, those are the fuel target numbers that they will every single lap tell them what the target is. They're starting to use codes now. They used to say, 1.72 miles per gallon, that's your target. Now they're starting to go to codes because they know we listen to them, and so do the other teams.
Now we'll have to get our little Sudoku book out or something there and figure out what the hieroglyphics mean. But it's been a great night, a great weekend so far for Dominguez, who more or less goes home, goes to Monterey for the next race, Champ Car. You'll see it here live on Speed next Sunday afternoon from Fundadora Park. And Dominguez is a national hero in Mexico.
And one of the things about Mario Dominguez that Paul Tracy has spoken about, his engineer Michael Cannon has spoken about, he loves bumpy racetracks. Yeah. He's just good on them. It suits his style. And Paul Tracy said that not only his car setup, but his driving style was something that even Paul Tracy can't match. And that's saying something.
Well, we talked earlier about how this is sort of like, you might consider it a go-kart track. It's a short track, short straightaways, rough and bumpy and very flat. Dominguez a left foot breaker, Jan? As we watch this battle developing here, Tagliani in the 15 car, Oriol Serbia in the 6. Left foot braking versus right foot, big difference.
It is. Between the two team cars, you have left and right. And as we look back through this group, you do have a variation. But as the younger kids are coming in from karting, you're getting more and more left foot braking.
Cameron Steele on pit road.
I was talking to some of the crew over the PKV Racing, and they said that Oriol Serbia is going just as quick as they expected for him to go without the wing, so they are not planning on coming in to check in for it.
Last year, as we watched Serbia sitting 7th, 16.5 seconds behind Dominguez, at Toronto last year, Paul Tracy and Sebastian Bourdais had a huge shunt. Tracy nearly won the race, minus his entire right front corner, right front wing of the
Like I was saying, he kind of forged new territory to where all the teams know it can be done, and he's showing that, in fact, Paul Tracy wasn't the only person who can do it.
Back behind Serbia, this is Will Power in 8th, and the other Aussie Vineyards car, Philippe in 9th. There's Charles Wolzman. Now he's climbed to 10th in the MyJack Conquest 34. As we see Nelson Philippe pouring by. Let's climb on board here with Wolzman.
This is a great view just to see. Look at that. Look at the way that the bumps, now some of that was correction because the back of the car stepped out, but look at the way across the bumps it just tries to yank it right out of your hands. If you watched our qualifying show on speed last night, you know that Paul Tracy was spraying pine tar on his gloves like you would do in baseball to be sure he could hang on to the wheel.
And Tracy, I'm sure, batting third in the order here tonight for the Forsythe team. Started third anyway, and right now PT sits in fourth position. Race leader Mario Dominguez, 2 career victories.
Oh, here we go.
For second spot to the inside. Can Junqueira come back? No, Junqueira has problems. I think Junqueira's got a problem, yeah.
Well, he may have a problem. What happened there was he tried to give his teammate, once he knew that that was his corner, he didn't want to cut right back and have any kind of contact. He got out of the groove and lost some momentum. It doesn't mean that he has a problem that's going to continue. But yes, you lose the momentum, you lose the actual line here. That's a big problem.
So Sebastian Bourdais in the first 10 laps tonight here in the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston from 5th to 2nd spot, shuffling his teammate Junqueira, who started on the front row, back to 3rd. Bourdais perhaps feeling he's got a point to prove here tonight.
Yes, and the thing is he did not like the Bridgestone alternate, as we call reds. He didn't like him in the heat of the day.
Yeah.
So just because he didn't like him and doesn't prefer them, at nighttime, later in the race, you put the reds on, he might be fine. But that's the gamble. That's the thing no one knows until they slap him on the car and see what happens.
Turn 4 here at Houston. And look at that. You would think he'd be to the right there, but instead, the smoother part of the racetrack is way out left as we go back and take a look at Mario Dominguez.
And from an overhead shot, you can see why some of these drivers choose the lines that they do. It's not always the fastest way through the corner traditionally. It's to make sure that you miss the largest of the bumps, and that's what we saw up front.
Dominguez has a 4.3 second lead over Sebastian Bourdais. We're 10 laps into the 100-lap Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Houston, Reliant Park, the Champ Car World Series. And a reminder coming up, your chance to enter the Champ Car Live Fast Sweepstakes presented by Bridgestone. Win a trip to the Grand Prix of Monterey, plus a set of Bridgestone Potenza pole position tires. Or a subscription to Auto Week. One grand prize winner gets a new Ford Mustang GT and will join us in Mexico City for the season finale. Stay tuned for this week's code word. The Champ Car Live Fast Sweepstakes is presented by Bridgestone. Our Long Beach winner, Dean Lamb of Chicago, Illinois, with us here this weekend at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. Alongside Jan Bikas, I'm Rick Benjamin, Cameron Steele, Bill Stevens on pit road for us tonight. 14 laps on the board. The Speed Racer MyJack Conquest 34 car. Charles Wolzman still sitting 10th. Everyone chasing this guy. Super Mario Dominguez and the Orgullo de Mexico 7 car, the Forsythe Index machine. Dominguez off his first career pole earlier this weekend, gunning for his 3rd Champ Car win, his 66th career start tonight. Dominguez, look at his lap times, John. Very consistent, I would say.
It's a case where there's nothing better than this. Mario Dominguez has spent so much time on these type of racetracks chasing, and it's so much different when you have an opportunity to have some clear racetrack and just be consistent. This is like a dream for a driver. As long as his pit stops go well and everything goes as they plan, it could be a great night for Mario.
Let's take a look back at Sebastian Bourdais, now the series champ, the winner of the opener at Long Beach. He is second by 3.8 seconds, Bill Stevens.
Yeah, he is really on a roll, Rick, and I'll tell you, I just spoke to Craig Hampson.
We'll hear from Bill a little bit later on tonight. Paul Tracy has moved to 3rd now. Sebastian Bourdais into 2nd spot earlier. A.J. Allmendinger and Bruno Junqueira running 4th and 5th. So Bruno slipping off the pace. I'm sure we'll get back and see the 2-car, the hole-in-the-wall Camps machine, the other Newman Haas entry. Bruno with a front row start. Meantime, Bourdais got the bit in his teeth here, trying to chase down Dominguez. Clean racetrack, and this race may be coming to him. How about Paul Tracy? It seemed, Jan, when we were on board with him a moment ago, as though he was fighting kind of a loose race car.
Well, if you want to get an idea of what it's like, this will give you an idea. The helmet cam for Paul Tracy. Not only does that show you the wheel movement, but just look at the way that it just beats your body across this thing. 5.2 seconds ahead of AJ. Of course, that's Neil Mickelwright. And it's amazing how clear those transmissions are.
Now recall, of course, that Tracy and Allmendinger have had their moments in the season just past. In fact, at the finale last year in Mexico City, trouble for one of the Sonny's Barbecue cars. That's the 11 of Jan Halen. He started at the back of the field. He was up to 16th, but he's gone into a runoff area. He's got the car, well, it sounds like it's stalled. It sounded like he kept it running with the clutch in, but he's got the visor up.
Which you're not supposed to do unless the car is stalled. So
Yeah,
that was a
he
bit
did keep it fired. One more look.
That was a mixed signal. The drivers are all told that if the car has stalled, you're to lift your visor, and he spun the car around very nicely. That is tough to do in the tight confines, and we have Speedy Dan in the pits.
Dan Clark, who's had a very eventful weekend. He had problems at Long Beach, put the car in the tires twice, knocked the rear wing off it there. He had a huge crash and on track the other night, got into the outside retaining wall. They were able to fix the 14 car, but they're underneath. They've taken the front wheels off the car. Perhaps a brake problem, Jan?
No, I think what happened is he's made contact somewhere, and that front axle is not where it needs to be. But let's go down and get back to Rick.
All right, as we see the 14 car crew still going to work down there. Speedy Dan Clark out of Great Britain will show you a little bit of what his weekend's been like. This was a shunt with the Paul Tracy car during the practice session the other night here in Houston.
I went to the left as we were going to go around the long sweeping right at 4, and this car just started coming across on the left, across the middle of the track, like as if they were moving out for somebody on the other side of the track. And as it happened, it hit my front wheel, and that just knocked me into the wall.
Dan Clark for CTE HVM Racing, still working on the nose of car number 14. So Clark has been on pit road a while. He's lost a couple of laps to the leaders. Justin Wilson of the CDW number 9. Now remember, he had problems and had to make a very early stop tonight. He is up to 15th now, but he has one lap down. And we take a look at the car of Jan Halen. Now we saw him off course. Looked as though he just missed the corner, and that'll happen sometimes. Drove down that runoff area, spun the car, kept it running.
And he has had brake trouble all weekend. He actually missed one of the sessions on the racetrack because the brake pedal was going to the floor. So in case that problem has recurred, to sit out an entire practice session because they were so concerned about the safety, if that returned, boy, you don't want to be out on the racetrack.
Taking the nose bodywork off the 11 car, the Sonny's Barbecue Machine. Race leader continues to be Mario Dominguez, 17 laps on the board. And Jan, we're not too far away, I would say, from green flag pit stops.
It is a case where the window will open, but I think that Mario Dominguez, you could pit as early as lap 26, but as late as lap 36.
We went through the shortcut. We have to give up 1 second of time. Give up 1 second back to Bourdais because of going through the shortcut.
Whoa! Listen to that radio transmission. A penalty.
But thankfully, it's just 1 second. It's not like it's a drive-through. That's one really nice thing that Champ Car has done, is they can look electronically at the times and see how much you pick up if you shortcut the course, and he only has to give back 1 second, which is a very quick little lift of the throttle. He doesn't have to do it dramatically. They just need to see it on the time next time around.
Last time by start finish, the lead for Dominguez over Bourdais, 4.1 seconds. Meantime, here comes Bourdais. He's going to put the CDW 9 car of Wilson another lap down to the second place driver. Wilson off the pace after that early problem in the Rousport machine. He chased Bourdais to the victory at Long Beach. Bourdais winning comfortably in the season opener back in April. And Wilson really struggling here tonight.
You'll notice on the steering wheel of all these cars right in here, that's a track map. Thinking, what the heck you need a track map for? That's because when you speak to your engineer on pit road and you say, I'm having trouble in turn 2, I want to be sure that everybody is on the same page and don't get the data mixed up.
Well, checking the times here, it does not look as yet as though Dominguez has backed off and let Bourdais
get look out!
Second closer. Nicky Pastorelli for Rocket Sports overshot the same corner where Halen went off just a few moments ago.
I thought he was pulling out to make a move, and I was thinking, if you break there, that's going to be a big one. And thankfully, he got it stopped. Nice thing about night racing, there's no question that car's still running, and he's had trouble getting in reverse. Look, it looks like he comes up, was going to try and make a move on Damata, but that thing just is not stopping. And thankfully, he split the gap between the two cars, and this weekend, all weekend, he's had trouble. He cannot get it into reverse. Yeah. They thought they had it fixed, and now it takes the quick lift to get it around.
Back through the chicane. Here's Zwolsman now putting some pressure on. Zwolsman in 10th. Nelson Philippe right in front of him. The CTE HVM 4 car.
I think he's got him.
Zwolsman to the inside. Gets by Philippe. So Charles Zwolsman with a nice move into 9th position now. Andrew Ranger, the other MyJack Conquest car. The Tide Machine, the 27th. He's back there in 11th. He's trying to draw a beat here on Zwolsman.
I think Nelson Philippe is in trouble because that seemed way too easy for Zwolsman to swoop by there.
That is Philippe directly in front of Ranger. Ranger taking his time, and back there behind them is Cristiano D'Amato, the 2002 Champ Car champion. On board with Zwolsman, looking from the under tray back at the battle behind him now. Zolzman looking back at Philippe and Ranger.
And that was an assertive move.
Yeah.
As soon as he had the opportunity, he was by like a rocket. And obviously Charles Zolzman is doing a fantastic job. And from this rear shot, you also get a really good view of the bumps down the front straightaway.
Now this, of course, leaves Philippe, Ranger, and D'Amata battling for 10th. 10th, 11th, and 12th together down into turn 1 and 1A, the new chicane complex here. Catherine Legg is back there as well. She's 13th and closing in. Now remember, she ran 8th at Long Beach. Best ever finish for a female driver in the Champ Car World Series. And here comes Ranger now.
And Nelson Philippe let him through.
Yep.
So he knows he's in trouble. Yep.
Now we're not that far, as we mentioned. We're about 5 laps away from the opening of the first fuel window for the first round of stops.
Wow, Catherine Legg almost went to the inside of D'Amata.
Cristiano D'Amata, Catherine Legg back there battling for 12th position behind Philippe.
You can't pass there, but you can as soon as you see the green. So that's what they do on a local yellow. The moment that you see the green at the next stop, then passing is allowed. Nelson Philippe in trouble. D'Amata takes advantage. Now here comes Legg.
Catherine Legg to the outside. She may have D'Amata in her gun sights. She
One
moves
at a time.
around Philippe.
One at a time there, Rick.
And D'Amata starts to pull away with Legg in tow. So Nelson Philippe starting to struggle. The Bird and a Bear 4 car. So Zolzman now is 9th behind Servia, Ranger to 10th, D'Amata 11th, and Catherine Legg up to 12th. Meantime, at the front of the field, Mario Dominguez, 4.6 seconds to the good, in front of series champ Sebastian Bourdais. Dominguez has led all the way after scoring his first career pole at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. We'll be right back.
To order Fox College Sports, call 1-877-2-GET-FCS.
Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. Hey, did something from this race weekend set you off? If so, call the Wind Tunnel Fired Up line, 866-W-TUNNEL, anytime over the weekend. Leave your message for Dave Despain and the crew, and then check out Wind Tunnel. Dave welcomes guest co-host Casey Kane tomorrow, 9 Eastern, only here on Speed. With Jan Bikas, I'm Rick Benjamin. One car in trouble, very slow, and that is Dominguez. As we take a look from our aerial platform here at Reliant Park in Houston, Texas. First time that the Champ Cars have been back in the Lone Star State since 2001. Heading down the front straightaway toward the chicane complex, Mario Dominguez and the Forsythe in-deck car. One car through the runoff. That is Dominguez. Yeah, he shortcut the area there.
You can see him come through. He got on the brakes. It started. There's a bump on the approach, and if you have a little bit too much rear brake, he'll start to wiggle. He may get another call from race control saying give up some more time unless he's already, he knows what he's done. But look how close Mr. Sebastian Bourdais is gaining.
I'm wondering if there's a problem there. The gap was 1.7 seconds last time by, and here comes Bourdais. He has closed in. I believe Dominguez has a problem. Bourdais is up on the wheel, and he is right there.
I think that the rear tires may be going away for him. It's a case where that's why Sebastian Bourdais was concerned about the Bridgestone alternates. They might not last quite as long. They're faster, but maybe not quite the same longevity.
Sebastian Bourdais won the opener at Long Beach. Series champion 2 years running. Points leader coming in here tonight. Started 5th after struggling during qualifying. Dominguez from the pole, first time ever in his Champ Car career. He's led the first 26 laps tonight. We go back to Andrew Ranger. And there is the battle for the lead, and Bourdais is right on Dominguez's rear wing. Move over flag being shown.
That was a true move over.
Yeah, that was.
That was like leave the stadium.
Dominguez through the turn 4 complex, big sweep.
Oh, he has the power to pass. You can see the flashing light at the back.
Bourdais to the inside for the lead.
But he's got to get it stopped.
Dominguez right back at him, but he couldn't defend the position at all, and Bourdais jumps to the front on lap 27.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. Full course yellow. Full course yellow. Stay out. Pits are closed.
Nice time to take the lead just before a full course caution.
Couldn't have fallen better for Sebastian Bourdais in the McDonald's #1.
But the pit window is open, in my estimation. I don't believe that the leaders will pit, but if you're, say, P5 or farther down, you could pit now and still make it with just one more pit stop.
So the possibility of a fuel gambit, much as we saw the PKV team do last year with Cristiano D'Amata at Portland, does exist. Now Bourdais has dropped behind Dominguez.
2 hours a leader.
But that is the call from timing and scoring from Champ Car that Bourdais made the pass before the full course yellow was flagged.
Ooh, that was close.
Dominguez doesn't want to give it up.
No. You make sure you go by somebody. Hey, easy, boys.
It's early in the race. No need for that.
Well, see, Dominguez thinks that the position is his, and so he's got. That's a good one. If you come by me, I'll put you in the wall.
Now, Phil Pan is the pit box team manager for the 7th car for Mario Dominguez's team.
Billy Camphausen giving an update to our crew.
And we're being told the caution has been displayed. Some areas of the racetrack. Brand new facility here, of course. Laid out around Reliant Stadium. Reliant Park, they call this huge complex where the old Astrodome sits and where the Houston Texans Stadium is. And another piece of front wing out on the racetrack here. So Champ Car sending the safety team out. That's in the chicane area, turn 1 and 1A.
Now, if the pits stay closed for another lap or two, I changed what I said. If it gets another lap or two, you may have the entire field decide to come in and take advantage of this. It's always a great opportunity to pit under yellow.
Safety car is out. Champ Car pace car team out pacing the field. Dominguez still at the head of the field, although we understood at least from the McDonald's team, the Newman Haas team, that Bourdais had made the pass. 100 laps is our distance tonight. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, 2 stops necessary. The first window is open right now.
If you stopped now and there was a caution, yeah, you can see some of the teams, lots of the teams are set up. So that extra lap or two with the pits closed, my guess is that we're going to see pretty much everyone take advantage of this.
Now Bourdais has moved to the head of the field behind the safety car. But the lights are still on the Ford Mustang that is our pace vehicle here tonight. Dominguez tucking into second. Pit road is open next time by. Tracy third in the running order with Allmendinger fourth. Junqueira back up to fifth in front of Tagliani and Powell.
One of the things you'll notice during this round of pit stops is that the cars are not going to stop in the places that we're used to. There's a brand new rule in Champ Car this year that if you're a 2-car team, your pit selection is based on the last race. If it's a 2-car team, you can no longer split. So in the case of Newman Haas, they had a great finish with a win in Long Beach for Bourdais, but of course they had their other teammate, Bruno Junqueira, didn't even make it past the first corner. So you'll see these guys pitted in different positions. That traditional pit out spot for the leader, Sebastian Bourdais, won't be there.
Yeah, that is normally one of the things I think that's benefited the Newman Haas team the last couple of seasons, that they've been able to pit at the end of pit row. Pits are open this time.
It's a huge advantage, but more so for qualifying. And it was actually by design for Champ Car to try and change that to give everybody a fair shot and having that really, really helpful spot at pit out.
So Bourdais will be the first car onto pit road. Cameron Steele.
Neil Mickret, general manager for Foresight Racing. Looks like there's a bit of chaos going on out there. What's happening?
I think there's some back markers that Dominguez and those guys got mixed up with. There did a disagreement about who's leading and who isn't. Clearly at this point, Bourdais is leading, so we'll try to pick it up after that.
Was there a problem with Dominguez where we saw him slowing?
No, I think he may have missed a gear.
All right. Indications are the tires are okay. Here comes Bourdais to the attention of his crew, the McDonald's bunch, and Dominguez pitting as well.
But Dominguez is pitting all the way at pit in, so there'll be a big difference as far as who's getting service. And a little bit of a problem. Oh, Paul Tracy's underway. Mario Dominguez will be underway. But watch Bourdais. He's losing all kinds of time.
Dominguez beating Bourdais off of pit road. You hardly ever see that in this series. That may vault Dominguez back into the lead. 29 laps on the board of 100 tonight. Cristiano D'Amata had a good stop. Mickey Pastorelli back out, as is Nelson Felipe. Bill Stevens.
It has been an emotional roller coaster down here in Sebastian Bourdais' pit. They started off the race not knowing how well the car would handle. They were able to get into the lead, and now after that pit stop, they are very disappointed down here because of what you saw happen.
And you can see they put on the Bridgestone alternate red. So if there's any question for Sebastian Bourdais, if he likes those tires or how long they last, this is a stint we're going to find out. That's the best time to do it, Rick, because there's probably, you still got one more chance to throw the blacks on and take it home.
And if these are good now under the cooler conditions, you can run your second set of reds.
Now this doesn't make any sense.
We had a little trouble. The patch gave up under your jack and caused the car to tilt.
Oh, the patch underneath.
So
they're on air jacks, and so as soon as you hit the air jack, it lifts the car up, and they put little concrete kind of quick set concrete.
Save fuel, save fuel. I will let you know when we're going back green.
So everybody getting the signal, save the fuel. Now here's the battle between Dominguez and Bourdais for the lead.
And there's no yellow there. The next yellow that you see. Oh, he comes in here.
Oh, that's what forced Dominguez over the rumble strip, and then there was contact on the end of that corner as they exited the turn.
Wow.
And Dominguez saying, hey.
So Dominguez did challenge back. We didn't think that he did, but I believe that Sebastian saw a yellow and eased up, and that's why they want to put him back behind. Now, of course, it doesn't make any difference because we just saw in the pits he gave it up anyway, but wow.
So at the moment, Dominguez is shown as the leader with 30 laps complete. Running order top of your screen. Bourdais will tuck into second in front of Tracy. And it's Allmendinger and Tagliani. Bruno Junqueira sixth. Will Power, Charles Wolfsman, Andrew Ranger, Cristiano D'Amato, rest of the top 10. Getting ready to go green, but not yet. Cameron Steele.
Paul Tracy was having a problem with understeer. They were going to make an adjustment to the wing, but they decided to go with tire pressure, and they think they can fix it that way. We'll see if it works.
Tire pressure is one of the things, Cameron, as you know, that they'll do. There's two choices, is that a spring, the tire works as a spring. I think it's 30% of the spring of the car actually comes from the sidewall of the tire. So a couple of pounds in the tire is like changing the springs. Sometimes it's wing, sometimes it's springs. They go for springs.
Before we go green here, Michelle Beisner has been with us, of course, all week here at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston, checking out the scene around Reliant Park and elsewhere. And she found some very interesting things that happened here around the race course over the course of the last couple of days. She's already been on that bucking Bronco one time. Michelle, what else have you found for us this weekend?
Welcome to the gun show, baby. And with just a few days until the men and one very strong woman battle it out on the track here at the Grand Prix of Houston, I was able to go behind the scenes and get ringside here for all the action. It's Thursday night fight night, and it's not just any fight night. This is Oscar De La Hoya's fight night, with 5 nights on the card, starting from the featherweight on up to the NABO welterweight championship. The action was had. I picked up a few moves, and I think I'm ready for the ring. What do you think, Jeff, huh? Oh! Jeff, are you okay? Jeff, are you okay? Is the camera okay? How do I look?
Paging Clint Eastwood.
Fuzzy.
$1 Million Baby 2, perhaps, in the offing in the months to come. 31 laps are on the board, under caution. Taking a look at some areas of the racetrack, some debris that needed to be cleaned up. We saw one of the winglets off the nose of one of the cars in the field tonight. Mayo Dominguez, that Orgullo de Mexico car, goes back to the lead based on a quicker pit stop. Problems for the McDonald's team, as we documented a moment ago. So as we prepare to get going here, on lap number 32, field lining up behind the safety car. Before we restart tonight, Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Houston, let's check in with our friends at Ford Motor Company. Tonight's Ford Bold Move.
The Ford F-150 is the best-selling truck in America for 31 years now, and you can see why. It's a combination of comfort, of versatility, and of safety. And speaking of safety, I'm here with Lon Bromley, who's the director of the Champ Car Safety Team. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
Well, we bring 25 paramedic firefighters and doctors to each Champ Car race to provide emergency medical care to all our drivers.
And how does the Ford F-150 work best for your team?
It provides us with the ability to carry all our extrication equipment, our Homatro gear, and firefighting and rescue equipment.
Well, you heard it straight for the man. He uses only the best to get it done out here for the Champ Car World Series.
Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston, second race of the 2006 season. Speed Fantasy Cup Racing has the games for you, the original, the richest, $750,000 cash and prizes. Sign up by May 20th to play Nextel All-Star Challenge. You could win $10,000. Check the link at speedtv.com. Sign up tonight. With Jan Bikas, I'm Rick Benjamin. Trouble again. The cars went green briefly, and on the first lap under green, Jan Halen in trouble again with Nicky Pastorelli. There was contact, and we were back to full course caution on lap number 35. We'll show you what happened. J.D. Wilbur with the twin yellow flags in the flag stand. Here they are heading into the chicane, turn 1A.
And anytime you see a flashing light, that means someone is on the power to pass. And Nicky Pastorelli in number 8 just punched the back of Jan Halen, who we thought at one time had braking issues, but they obviously seemed to have fixed that car. He was back out, but got center punched in the gearbox.
Well, I'm starting to wonder if Pastorelli in the Rocket Sports 8 car doesn't have brake problems. Now, that's the second time we've seen him just flat overrun a turn.
Yes, that's true. The other time he was able to hit the gap. This time there was no gap to hit. Next stop was that gearbox.
Pastorelli taking over the Rocket Sports ride after Long Beach. Antonio Pizzonia had a great result at Long Beach in that car, but it is now Pastorelli's ride for the balance of the season, we understand, as we watch Mario Dominguez. Now, if you were away for a couple of moments, Dominguez led from the pole many laps, gave up the lead to Bourdais, got it back on pit road. Bill Stevens.
Well, we all saw what happened when Sebastian Bourdais came into the pits just a little while ago. As you can see, out in pit lane, right where he parks the car, the cement has been repaired in the past. When he came in for his pit stop, the onboard jack came down, moved the car up, but actually took a piece of the cement out of the pit lane. The jack was unstable. That cost him valuable seconds, and he lost the lead.
And that's one of those things that's, I think it'll be hard for him to bounce back from that. Yeah. I mean, that's a situation he's got to pit the car one more time to.
Well, all you have to do is move the car about 6 inches and you're on a new piece.
If it holds up. We will see. Red tires, the Bridgestone alternates on Sebastian Bourdais' car. He will restart in second spot in 35 laps on the board.
One thing about Newman Haas is they know how to engineer things, and they can engineer concrete, asphalt, and race cars, and I have a feeling that they'll have that figured out in no time.
Paul Tracy will restart in third position. The Forsyth Index car number 3, former series champion, just re-signed for 5 more seasons in Champ Car.
Yeah, that 5 years is a big number, and that's great for the series.
Absolutely. Time now to take a look at our Mazda Power Play here this weekend in Houston. The Champ Car Atlantic Championship part of the weekend's fun. It was a wild one. Big scramble down into the first corner. A couple of cars damaged. We saw Andreas Wirth, who won the opener, battle hard with Rafael Matos in car number 6. They swapped the lead a couple of times. Graham Rahal ran third in the Gale car, Hijack Conquest number 18. Watch this. On a restart, Alex Barron went over the back end of Norbert Siedler's machine. Nobody hurt. Now Matos, who was challenging up front again, got clipped by Graham Rahal, and that took him out of contention. Andreas Wirth winning second consecutive race, first time in 14 Atlantic Championship seasons, but the same driver has won the first 2 rounds of the championship in a year. Yokohama presents the Champ Car Atlantic Championship powered by Mazda, our Mazda Power Play here at Houston. Still under caution as we get ready for a restart. Looks like they'll be bringing the safety car in, and we will go back to racing, this time by drivers starting to get back on the throttle. This is turn 9. Green back in the air.
I think the guy that you want to watch here is Paul Tracy, because Paul Tracy is well aware that we have Sebastian Bourdais on the tires that he doesn't care for, and he's going to go after him.
Tracy on board here, the Index Forsyth 3 car. Running order top of your screen. Presented by Ford. Dominguez back out in front. Tracy running third. PT, one of the drivers, taken out of that turn 1 wreck at Long Beach. He and Dominguez got together. Royal Servia, AJ Allmendinger also involved.
And there's that part of the racetrack that you asked about. Why is he not on driver's right? That is just to avoid some really big bumps on driver's right. Not the fastest way around. Well, it is the fastest way because you have a few bumps you must avoid. And it looks like Sebastian Bourdais is not having any trouble with the reds. No. Like I said, these cool temperatures at night may not be a problem. For more, let's get to Bill Stevens.
Yeah, I just talked to Craig Hampson a few moments ago, and he looked like a guy who's about to open his birthday present and is hoping he gets what he wants. He's a little cautiously optimistic right now, but I got to tell you, the complexion and the attitude of this team has swung 180 degrees from the beginning of the race.
It's been an up-and-down night so far, certainly for the 2-time series champ. That problem on pit road, nothing they could have controlled clearly, but something that certainly caught them out and cost him the lead at that time after he had raced his way by Mario Dominguez. Well, coming up, of course, here on Speed all season long, you can catch all of the Champ Car World Series action. We'll re-air the Grand Prix of Houston only on Speed. It's Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, Wednesday the 17th of May. It'll tee you up. You can watch it one more time before we go to Fundadora Park next Sunday in Monterrey, Mexico for the 3rd round of the Champ Car World Series season. Champ Car Grand Prix of Monterrey.
Now, I saw some flashing lights that I think came from Sebastian Bourdais, and sure enough, see, they're changing the marks. Those T's that they spray paint, and you see they're only moving it about 6 inches, just like I spoke about, so that jack will not hit the same spots.
One more pit stop coming for the field. 37 laps are complete. Bourdais second. Back to Bill.
Guys, one thing to keep in mind as we get deeper into the race, Sebastian Bourdais has 22 seconds of power to pass left. He just talked to his crew, and the plan is to try to use it to fend off Tracy rather than to go after Dominguez.
And Bill, that's just what I was talking about. As I saw the light flashing, I knew he was on the Cosworth power to pass, and look down. He does only have 22 seconds as we have another spin. Justin Wilson's just having a tough night. And I think for Sebastian Bourdais, he's worried about Paul Tracy. And you know what? Paul Tracy is the one guy in this field that will definitely worry Sebastian Bourdais.
Well, if you go back to 2005, those two tangled several times, and it seemed, Jan, as though the only driver in Champ Car who could possibly get under Sebastian Bourdais' cool exterior is Paul Tracy.
Yes, and let's see what happened to Justin Wilson here. A case where he gets in a little bit hot, tries to get it turned in, can't do so. Rousport have had a weekend to where the cars are really fast in one session, and that's just a case, that's that bump that we spoke about. You get on the brakes, you get that oscillation going across the bump, you have a little bit too much rear brake, and boy, that thing wants to step out.
Just upset the car going in there. He tried to broadside it through the corner, didn't quite make it, and then I think did a very nice job spinning that car into the little runoff area, keeping it out of harm's way. Back on board, the CDW9. One of the Rousport cars, second in the championship. Now Serbia and Andrew Ranger in the Tide Majak Conquest machine. They're battling for position, but this is back in 10th and 11th. So Oriol Serbia, now they put a new nose piece on, huh?
That's the nice thing about a caution period. When you're going to make a pit stop, sure, you'll lose some position, but go ahead and put a new nose cone. So hopefully Oriol Serbia, who has shown some flashes of brilliance throughout the weekend, maybe he can get up to speed.
PKV Racing undergoing some significant changes since we were at Long Beach a couple of weeks ago. Serbia with a lot to celebrate here this weekend. Not his run so far as we watch Andrew Ranger's car. Ranger in the Majak Conquest Tide machine back there in 9th position right now. But Serbia celebrating his 100th career start here tonight. Had his first career win a year ago when he was subbing for Bruno Junqueira at Newman Haas.
And there were certainly times when he was working his way through the formulas on the way up to say that he'd have 100 starts. It's a big day for Oriol Serbia.
Now they've made the cake for him, but he vowed not to eat any of it, I guess, till the checkered flag tonight.
I said, I'm not going to have a bite of that until I bring the thing home. He wants to have his win and eat it too.
Now the flip side of this, of course, is that Jimmy Vasser, who ran at Long Beach and we're told will make selected starts this year, his streak of 211 consecutive starts came to a close here in Houston this weekend. Jimmy not retiring, but not running the full schedule. He's up on the pit box for PKV, along with general manager Jim McGee, who's here, but of course Steve Krisiloff, the team manager, has departed. Vasser ending that streak of 211 starts in Serbia, as we mentioned, his 100th career Champ Car start. His 7th team in 7 seasons of Champ Car racing. If you have a good memory, you might remember PPI Racing. That's where he started a long time ago. Here's Serbia, car number 6. Gulfstream Lola, back in 9th now. He's gotten around Andrew Ranger. On board with the Majak Conquest 34, Charles Wolzman. He's picked his way up through the field. He's come up to 8th now.
Now at nighttime you can get a very nice look at the steering wheel, and of course the numbers that are in the center are so easy to see at night. That gives you so much information nowadays. There's no dashboard. All the information comes from the steering wheel, your lap time, your fuel, your RPM, shift lights. It's all on the steering wheel. It's a very cool thing, especially at night. Sure. You can see everything you need to.
Here's Serbia now behind Wolzman. Wolzman doing a nice job, I think. Started 11th. He's gained 3 positions on a track where it's difficult to pass, and that was one of the big stories that we were focused on coming in here tonight, how difficult it is to find a place to get by somebody.
And he's also playing hurt. He got hurt at the first race, actually the first test and the first race, so on a bumpy racetrack, doing a nice job. Cameron?
Well, I'm here with Nicky Passarelli, and Nicky, problems with the brakes, I understand. Is it just a rough course that gave you all the problems with the brakes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because we started pretty good. I overtook immediately Catherine Legge, and the car was handling very good. We were quite fast, and then when we started having problems with the brakes, the pedal just went down, so I cut the chicane and even touched Jan Heylen after the safety car restart. But, you know, it happens. At least we were fast.
Are you having a good time? Are you enjoying Champ Car?
Oh yeah, very much. Yeah, absolutely.
We're looking forward to seeing him at the next race, boys.
Full course caution. Catherine Legg has spun and backed the Bell Micro number 20 for the PKV team. We were talking about her teammate Oriol Servia. Catherine has stalled that race car, finished 8th at Long Beach. Best career finish by a female in Champ Car.
It's Tom Brown. Wow,
contact there.
Talking about Dan Clark and what you heard from his pits, he needs to be parked. And she agrees.
Now we saw how Dan Clark got into the wall around turn 4. Contact with Paul Tracy Thursday.
Millions of dollars worth of damage.
Some criticism of Speedy Dan Clark. Catherine Legg and Clark tangling, and Legg has spun and stalled the 20 car. All right, Mario Dominguez continues to lead. We're 7 laps short of halfway in Houston. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Our coverage today is brought to you by Mobil 1, extended performance, the oil that's changing oil. By CDW, the right technology right away. And by Mazda, always the soul of a sports car. Under caution at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. Here's your chance to enter the Champ Car Live Fast sweepstakes presented by Bridgestone. Win a trip to the Grand Prix of Monterey next week and a set of Bridgestone Potenza pole position tires or a subscription to Auto Week. Grand prize winner gets a brand new Ford Mustang GT and will join us in Mexico City for the series finale. This week's code word is Catherine. For official rules and to enter, log on to champcar.ws, the series website. Champ Car's Live Fast sweepstakes is presented by Bridgestone. To Cameron Steele.
Well, I'm here with Jimmy Vasser. After 211 consecutive starts, he's taken his team ownership position a little differently at PKV. It's got to be tough, JV, to be up here. And what's going on with Catherine right now?
Well, I think she got taken out by Speedy Dan, and she's just in here getting her wing now. She's been doing a good job, and it's a tough learning curve for her. But yeah, a little bit difficult for me, to watch the cars roll off and not be part of the grid today. But such is life. You got to move on. I'm really excited about my opportunities here to take on a new role at PKV for the future.
Thank you, Jimmy. I know we'll see you back in the car later this season, though, right?
Maybe a couple times. Who knows?
Looking forward to it. Jay Vasser.
Well, when we're talking about Speedy Dan and you heard the radio conversations, you're thinking, well, what was the thing? Remember, Speedy Dan was 15 laps down.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was just trying to pick up a position, and that's got to be so frustrating for Catherine, who's been clean the whole weekend, to get punted by somebody who has no business trying to make that pass in the first place. D'Amata in for service.
D'Amata getting tires and getting fuel, of course. Now we're at lap 45, 55 to go, Jan. Oh, and he stalled the car.
No, they told him to stop. Something wasn't tight.
A.J. Allmendinger in the Roo Sport Red Bull number 10. Allmendinger quietly up to 4th. He's doing a very nice job here tonight. Bill Stevens.
Down here with Carl Russo, the owner of Roo Sport. It's been a race filled with surprises so far, but your driver, A.J. Allmendinger, looks like he's on a pretty good run today.
A.J.'s on a good run. He's brought the Roo Sport car up to position 4. Seems to have good pace. I think we've got a good tire strategy. In the back, obviously Justin's had a heck of a race. He got tagged on the first lap. Here we go again. The CDW car has been working very well. He's got a fast car. We've got him on a good strategy. We think he's going to work himself back up into the top 5 as well.
Well, he may have something left for the 3 cars ahead of him right now.
We think he has something left for the 8 cars ahead of him. So that's the whole purpose, is to bring technology forward fast. That's what these folks do.
Good deal.
Carl Russo with his salesman's hat on tonight up on top of the pit box. CDW, of course, the major sponsor of Justin Wilson's team. Twice a winner last year. And Wilson, and all the difficulties he's had tonight, he's gotten himself back on the lead lap, Jan.
It's amazing. It's a case where you got to stay with it. You got to keep after it. You don't want to quit. You want to stay in there and just take it through and see it to the finish. You never know on these tight circuits.
Green flag back in the air. J.D. Wilbur drops the rag, and we're off and running again in Houston. And the Aussie Vineyards cars down into the first turn. Your leader is Dominguez on the restart. From the pole, he led early. Bourdais got by him, had a problem on pit road during his first stop of the night. Air jack on some crumbling concrete cost him time on pit road and vaulted Dominguez back in front. And these two guys have already tangled once here tonight. And Bourdais right up on the rear wing of Dominguez as they head for turn 4.
Mario Dominguez seems to be struggling a little bit, and he hits the power to pass. He hits the Cosworth power to pass. He knew that he was in trouble and needed to use it defensively. Now they have Cristiano D'Amata to work their way through. This is going to be dicey. I think that Mario Dominguez, it's taking him a while to get these black sidewall Bridgestones up to temp.
He will close the race on the Reds. Bourdais will have that option if he chooses to.
Well, not necessarily. You only have to run the Reds once, and he started on them. Here he comes.
Bourdais alongside Dominguez for the lead.
And
Tracy's right there.
Tracy's all over this.
To the front straightaway. Top three are nose to tail. Tracy's on the button now.
Oh, they both are. He blocks him. You can't do that.
Into the chicane.
Oh, he changed his line. That is going to be frowned upon.
Good stuff. And A.J. Allmendinger right there without burning power to pass time.
Oh, that's one of those things where, boy, right when Paul Tracy went to pass him, my car hit a bump and it moved over about 3 feet.
Amazing. How could that ever happen, right?
I don't know. These bumps are very hard to take here at Houston.
Well, the interesting thing, too, Jan, we've been talking to these drivers. They've talked about how they need to be in this line.
Yes,
They've got to keep Paul Tracy's head in the game. Neil Mickelwright talking to him there.
He says, Paul, he knows.
Blocked the stuffing out of him,
yeah,
did he?
He definitely did. And they're going to obviously make a call. You can guarantee that Neil Mickelwright is leaning into the ear of a Champ Car official right now and saying, go look at that thing on your TiVo machine. I want you to take a close look.
Here's Bourdais down the main straightaway toward turn 1 with Tracy. Here's the chicane again. This is Dominguez, your leader, in the Orgullo de Mexico 7 car for the Forsythe team.
Now, when I say TiVo machine, what happens if you're not familiar is that they have a race control with every camera on the racetrack. All are onto a hard drive or a DVR, same technology as a TiVo, and they can go back and look at any place on the racetrack anytime they want.
Cameron Steele.
Neil, they're talking about possible blocking going on out there. What is Paul saying in your ear, and what did you see?
What I saw on the TV certainly looked like blocking as defined in the rule book, and certainly Paul, from his perspective, felt that he was blocked on several occasions, not just once.
Oh, so there you have it. More than one block possibly going on. Paul Tracy not happy about it.
And we have official word from upstairs. They are watching 7 and 1 for blocking. Bill?
Yes, I just spoke to Craig Hampson just this second. He was told that Sebastian will be warned for blocking. There will be no penalty at the moment.
And that's a radio call, Jan?
Well, it's a call where, Tony's been pretty consistent. He'll give drivers 1. He's not supposed to, but he's very sensitive about wrecking somebody's day because that's a hard call to be able to say, I was joking about the bump moving the car. The bumps do move the car. That just happened to be very, very convenient.
Champ Car's Vice President of Operations, Tony Cobbett, is also the race director. Watches from race control. Same thing you're seeing, but a lot more angles of it generally.
I'll put it this way. If I had Paul Tracy behind me and he was on power to pass, my car would also hit a bump.
Sure.
You got to try it.
Sure.
You're not just going to let him through. Now, was he blocking? Yes. And they let him slide. If he does it again, I guarantee you he's going to get the hammer down on him.
Half a second separating the top 2. Dominguez is out in front of the 7 with 2 career wins. And Sebastian Bourdais' record. He's been the dominant player since he came on the scene a couple of seasons back. 2 consecutive championships. Tried to become the first Champ Car driver since the legendary Ted Horn to win 3 straight. Points leader coming in after round number 1. Tracy third right there. We're on board with PT in the in-deck Forsythe number 3. The chicane heading toward turn 2. .37 years old, races now out of Fort Lauderdale. 30 career victories in his Champ Car career, the 2003 Series champion.
Now, the reason Paul Tracy is so frustrated is that Paul Tracy is one of these drivers that is really good when the tires are cold. He can drive a car off a pit road better than anybody. Well, that's gone now. That advantage that he has, that was the one opportunity for him possibly to get by Bourdais, and if that's the one time Bourdais throws a block at you, that kills you.
Sure.
So obviously that's why he is upset, but it's a very tough call when you have, maybe a 3-foot violation on a very, very bumpy racetrack to be able to say, okay, pull on the pit road.
And as good as the McDonald's team is and Bourdais is, he knows that might have been his only chance tonight.
It's possible.
We are, of course, just past halfway. J.D. Wilbur had the cross flags out last time by, so we're working lap number 52. Tracy up through the gears quickly now. This is a lot of lower gears used on a racetrack like this. It's only 1.7 miles around. Next week, of course, a natural terrain road course in Monterrey, Mexico. Fundadora Park. Looking forward to going down there. You'll see our coverage live. The Champ Car Grand Prix of Monterrey next Sunday here on Speed.
talked about lower gears. They use second gear in a lot of these corners. And going through that turn 1, or I should say 1A chicane, Catherine's still getting some service on pit road, hoping to get her some track time. But those second gear corners around the racetrack, there's quite a few of them, down to 35 miles an hour in that first complex of corners. That's about the slowest corner you see on the circuit, with the exception of the Long Beach hairpin.
Tracy is third. PT started there. It's been an event-filled night if you're just joining us. Running order top of your screen with lap times, courtesy of our friends at Bridgestone, official tire supplier. As Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. Bourdais second, and McDonald's number 1. Dominguez managing to hang onto the lead. Now, Jan, I'm really impressed by the drive Dominguez is turning in here tonight. It appears to me that he does not have as good a race car at the moment as Bourdais does. He's managed to stay out in front.
I believe that what happens is that when you're on the Bridgestone alternates, that as you get to the end of your stint, they go away. So he's on the black sidewall now, doesn't have to use them again, and I think his car is good.
All right, top 3 have settled down. It's still Dominguez, Bourdais, and Tracy. Allmendinger is a threat in front of Tagliani. We'll be right back with more of the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston.